This week on the Analog Circle podcast, more rumors and a release window for the PlayStation 6 has been put out from a pretty reliable source. This joker even said he kind of got an idea of what the price point could be. I don't know, but this is our room. We'll get into it though. Battlefield 6 is cooking, and we get some details on what to expect from a performance standpoint for the game. Oh, these frame rates are insanity, to say the daggone least. Now, the rumored Venom game gets a little bit of an update on what could be coming down the pipe and when we could actually see this rumored game in the flesh. How? Man, we'll see what happens with that as well. And GTA 6 could be delayed by a few months if reports are true. And I got to say this, PlayStation actually responded to a fan who was outraged over the things that are going on over there with them putting games on Nintendo and Xbox platforms. But all of these stories can be found here and more in episode 267 of the Analog Circle podcast. I am your host, Kiaun Mitchell, and welcome to the show. Come on in, sit down, and relax, because we're going to have a great conversation today. And if you are traveling, hopefully we can accompany you to your destination. Now, if you do want to be a part of listener feedback, doggone it, you can do it two different ways. You can either call in. Now, matter of fact, if it wasn't for Cody Clark, I don't think I would have thought the number was working. But if you do want to call in and let your voice be heard, you can call in at 667-284-9057. Now, if you want to email the show and you want to be a keyboard warrior, you can do so by emailing us at theanalogcirclepodcast@gmail.com. So without further ado, let's go ahead and let's get into what we all come here for, and that is the gaming news that went down. So let's go ahead and let's get things started with a story that I got from PlayStation Lifestyle. So last week, PlayStation set the gaming community on absolute fire when their job listing stating that they would be bringing games to Nintendo and Xbox platforms. Now, people, including myself, oh man, I was mad. Just so heartbroken over this stuff. So people like myself didn't like this approach. So much so that PlayStation fans emailed Sony to get clarification on the situation. And shockingly, PlayStation responded and said, and I quote, "While we continue to explore new ways to grow and evolve the gaming ecosystem, we are committed to preserving the unique identity that PlayStation represents as we have in the past. We will always listen to feedback from our community, including valued players like you, and ensure that our decisions are aligned with the experiences you expect from PlayStation." End of quote. Now, I got to say, brothers,
what did he say?
I just listen, brothers. Now, this sounds good on paper. I will say this is the kind of response that you want to hear from your favorite manufacturer. Listen, man, we're going to take into consideration everything that our fan base says, and trust us, we're gonna do our best to keep things the same, but we have to explore new ways to grow and evolve our gaming ecosystem. And how they say that they're committed to preserving the unique identity that PlayStation represents. This sounds great, but this also sounds like PR. I don't know. Listen, do y'all really think that PlayStation wouldn't make these moves? Hiroki Toki is in office. The financial guy. The man who only cares about the numbers, the bottom line. Nothing more, nothing less. Do you think that he is above actually putting something like The Last of Us on Xbox or Nintendo or God of War on Xbox? I mean, doggone. We've seen the moves that have happened over the years at PlayStation. And I gotta say, it's just not about PlayStation anymore. They're talking about PC and they're talking about other console ecosystems. They have Xbox games on their platform and they're outselling their own games. They're outselling their own games by I'm not going to say a landslide, but look at what's going on with Death Stranding. Now, I get it. Somebody could say Death Stranding 2 is not a first-party PlayStation game, but it is a PlayStation exclusive, whether it's timed or not. You have Forza, a racing game, over there outdoing Death Stranding and Astrobot. Death Stranding and Astrobot.
Ain't nobody coming to see you, Otis.
This is ridiculous. So when they see those numbers and they see how Xbox is eating, God dog, Xbox is really eating off of their platform. Do you not think that PlayStation would look at that and say, shucks, I would like to get a little bit of that piece of pie myself. Give me a little bit of that apple pie. Let me get a little bite or a taste. I don't know. I think that it can be very tempting. Now, again, everything comes down to show me. Words are cheap. They don't really mean much. I can say, hey, I'm a millionaire. And the first thing somebody's going to say is, show me. Well, I ain't a millionaire. You know, in my mind, though, I'm a millionaire. I feel like I'm a millionaire. Yeah. Whatever, bro. It ain't real. So until we see exactly what PlayStation is going to do, which they've already shown their hand, time and time again, those PC releases are getting shorter and shorter and shorter. Now, again, you have the games as a service. They're on PC day and date with PlayStation 5. Now they're on other competing platforms. So yeah, this email sounds good. It's a great response. I'm glad that PlayStation actually took the time out to actually respond to this fan. But do I believe it? I don't. I don't believe any of it. I'll believe it when I see it. So I say that to say, man, don't get too excited. I mean, even though, shout out to Gamer Tag Radio, Danny and Paris. Paris was talking about they were at the Battlefield event, and they had actually gotten into a conversation about this, about PlayStation actually bringing games to Xbox and Nintendo. And Paris had stated that some people were like, it's a nothing burger. It's a big nothing burger. But others were like, I think it's a little bit there. So right now, the community is split 50-50. I'm with the half that believes this is going to be something. I'm not going to sit up here and try to play mental gymnastics about why PlayStation is doing this. They're simply doing it because they want more money. PlayStation is not above reproach. They're not above doing the same things that Microsoft has done. I mean, they've bit Microsoft style a few times over the years. I mean, they took their model when it came to online gaming. They tried to make it free. They saw, oh man, it ain't working out too well. And Xbox is making a ton of money. Let's go ahead and follow them. They followed Xbox when it came to achievements. They made trophies. And now they're following Xbox when it comes down to their games actually appearing on other platforms. This has always been something Sony has done over the past. So that's why I believe that, again, this is just lip service. I believe the PlayStation will be bringing single player games over to other platforms. It just seems like it's a matter of time. I'm not going to sit up here and take PlayStation's side like they're any better than Xbox. I thought they were. I thought they would have kept it true like Nintendo. Kept the rules of engagement when it comes to this gaming stuff, in check. But nah, they're fraternizing with the enemy right now. So, yeah, nothing is off the table with PlayStation for me. I could see them eventually bringing their games over. And to people that say, man, if they bring over Uncharted or, a big single player game, then I'll believe it's over. Brothers, sisters, all you got to do is look over at Xbox. Look over at Xbox, see what they did, see what they said about their titles. Oh, man, if this title goes over, I'm leaving. Oh, this title goes over, I'm definitely leaving. Truth of the matter is, you ain't going nowhere. You're going to keep on making excuses to try and stay. Listen, I'm probably still going to be on the PlayStation brand because I don't think I want to deal with PC problems. I can be realistic with myself and say, I don't like the practice. I don't agree with it, but I'm not going to make excuses as to why a multi-billion-dollar company is doing the things that they're doing to get more money. I'm not fooled, so that's all I'm saying. Just be honest with yourself. Be honest. I made so much fun of Xbox for doing what they were doing. PlayStation will never do this. They don't have to. They're making billions of dollars in profit just for Hiroki Totoki to turn around and doggone just shut me down. Just drop the whole doggone bomb on me. Just blew up my whole spot. I said, God, dog, look at these motherfuckers. Anyway, we'll see what happens with PlayStation and this whole situation of games coming over to Xbox and Nintendo in the future. You know what? I always think it's corny to ask these kind of questions, but for you guys out there, man, what game would it be to let you know that it's over? Because in my mind, it's already over. But what game would it take? Would it take Spider-Man? Would it take, I don't know, God of War, Horizon? Just curious to know, man. Let me know something. Let's get on into the next story, though, that I got from IGN. So over his lifetime of existing, oh, man, me included, people have wondered, is Game Pass profitable? Is it really, really profitable?
Show me the money.
Well, during the company's Q4 full year earnings results covering the last 12 months ending June 30th, 2025, which was just literally a couple of days ago, Satya Nadella announced Game Pass revenue was at, oh my gosh, nearly $5 billion. $5 billion for the first time. Now, we didn't share the subscriber numbers or anything like that, but due to a Microsoft employee profile from 2 months ago, the number looks to be at around 35 million subs to Game Pass, which is allegedly up 1 million since February of 2024. Now, also just getting into more of the numbers, Xbox gaming revenue is up by 10% year over year. But the hardware, brothers, the hardware is down by 22%. 22% year over year. And it's things like this that make me say, PlayStation, what are you about to do? You got the blueprint right there in front of your face to know what is possibly going to happen. Yeah, PlayStation been out here winning a whole lot lately. They like the Chicago Bulls, man, back in the 90s. They just winning championship after championship. I mean, they've won so many console generations. Like what, 4 out of the 5 they have beating the competition. I mean, don't get me wrong, Nintendo Switch, Nintendo does have the numbers, but Nintendo, since they don't want to compete, we ain't going to include them. Since they don't want to compete with everybody, or we're off doing our own thing. Okay, fine. Well, you're not in the race then, god dog it. So yeah, PlayStation has been beaten up on Xbox for almost, 4 generations. They've been beaten up on Xbox. And I think that sometimes, look, it gets to the point where you feel like you're invincible. I mean, we're going to talk about Nintendo a little bit later because they must have this same syndrome going. But anyway, the point is the console sales are down by 22% year over year. But in total, gaming for Microsoft bought in 23. Now, this is bananas. $23.45 billion during the fiscal year. That's a lot of doggone money. 23.45 billion. Whew. Now, also, according to renowned AMD leaker, god darn, they really eating over there. Anyway, we'll get there. But according to renowned AMD leaker Kepler L2, his name is spelled Kepler L2, the number 2, he has revealed that the Xbox Series S and X, now this is a very interesting stat, but according to him, the Xbox Series S and X have sold less than 30 million units. Less than 30 million units.
But wait, it gets worse.
That's insane because we at least thought that the Xbox Series S and X were at 30 million, but according to him, they are not. So according to his estimates, this is how we got the numbers, based on AMD sales. So this is how we broke it down. He broke it down like this. AMD's number is higher than what Sony and Xbox would count as unit sales since it includes chips sold but still in flight, i.e. being assembled somewhere. So in Q3, this is where the numbers go. In Q3, 100 million console units with 66 million PS5s and 4 million Steam Decks would put Xbox Series at a max of 29 million. 29 million units. Now in Q4, 100 million console units with 75 million PlayStation 5s and 4 million Steam Decks means Xbox sold a minimum of 21 million units. So in conclusion, for this generation, Xbox sales range from a minimum of 21 million units, and that's between Q1 and Q2 of 2025, unit sales, to a maximum of 29 million, counting Q4 2024 plus Q1 and Q2 of 2025. So they are sitting between 21 and 29 million units. The interesting thing about this is that they have 35 million alleged Xbox Game Pass subscribers, which means I am pretty sure that not every single, you can't even count the Xbox Series alone, because it doesn't even equal up to 35 anything. It's sitting at between 21 and 29. So that means how many Xbox Game Pass subscriptions are still on Xbox One and PC? It just makes me wonder, could that be the situation as to why a lot of Xbox games have not been selling as well? Not Xbox One, pardon me. Xbox Series X and S games haven't been selling as well, or the player counts are hit and miss with some titles. I don't know. It's just very interesting that they're still sitting at less than 30 million units, according to the numbers from Kepler L2, counting those sales of the AMD chipsets. So that's not the only thing, though, that Kepler had brought up. He did say that the Series X is, and this is good news, that the Series X is at least selling at a profit because they did a die shrink and up the price of the console. So they are able to sell it at a profit. Now, the other thing that I found interesting too is he actually started talking about PlayStation 5. He said PlayStation 5 is still being sold at a loss because component prices actually went up, but the PlayStation 5 Pro is selling at a profit. So PS5 Pro is selling at a bit of a profit, but the PS5 is still selling at a loss. And the thing about that is that I find so interesting, and we're going to get to it, I'm not going to get too deep into it, is that brand new hardware, it's not brand new per se, it's going on 5 years old, but this current generation of hardware is continuing to lose money, whereas another manufacturer, Nintendo, we're going to talk about them, has upped the price of a 8-year-old console. A 8-year-old console, they have upped the darn price. Y'all killing me with this. It's ridiculous. But we'll get there. But that's what's going on in Xbox land. These jokers are making a mint of money, $23.45 billion. That's insane. I think it is a safe bet to say, with them making $5 billion for the first time off of Game Pass, this joker got to be profitable. It's got to be $5 billion. I mean, god darn, that's a heck of a feat, man. Darn. I can't stand the service, but hey, I got to respect those type of numbers. Let's go ahead, though, guys, and let's get into the next story that I got from Noob Feed. It's spelled Noob Feed. So let's get into, of course, you know we got to do it. Let's get into some rumors. Look at all these rumors surrounding me every day. So a Venom DLC has been discussed for a while. We talked about it. Now, you know, but what we have never had, we've never had an official confirmation about this Venom DLC. Well, according to new reports, Venom has moved past being a DLC, but is now a full-fledged game. And it will be shown. Now, this is where I say you got to tread very carefully with this rumor. But this is what is being said. It's being said that it will be shown off at this September's State of Play event. And if by chance it's not shown there, it will premiere at the Game Awards. Oh, man. This is the thing. I don't even think we have heard or got word that Sony is even having a September State of Play event. I mean, I know that the game that is by the same team that actually made, give me a second, Returnal, whatever game that they're working on next, Soros, I believe it is, we were told that we were going to get some footage of that game sometime this year. I believe it was the last State of Play. I thought we were going to get some video footage of it, but we didn't. We didn't get any gameplay. So we are still due for that to be shown sometime this year, unless plans have changed. But I mean, that's a bit of a saving grace. I mean, of course, that could slip and be something that we see at the Game Awards as well. We've seen Sony be very generous to Jeff Keighley when it comes to his shows. So I wouldn't put it out of the realm of possibility that, you know, a Venom game could be shown at the Game Awards. But just the fact that this game has now, and again, you know, allegedly moved from a DLC to a full-fledged game, is very, very interesting within itself. But it appearing at a September State of Play or at the Game Awards is something completely different, and I would love to see that happen. Now, as far as Wolverine is concerned, it still looks like it will appear in 2027 sometime, but it's also been speculated that the Venom game could be connected to the Cletus Cassidy. I think that's how you pronounce it. Cletus Cassidy / Carnage DLC that was canceled. So it could, man, could you imagine seeing Carnage in a game? Now, I'm not sure about this person who's what Cletus, Cletus Cassidy. I have no idea who that is, but I definitely darn sure know who darn Carnage is. So could you imagine seeing Carnage in a game? I don't think I've seen Carnage in a video game. God, dog. I mean, this is just me since Spider-Man with the red cartridge on Super Nintendo. What was it called? Something Carnage, I believe. That cartridge was dope too. Had the red on, man. That joint was nuts. But I haven't seen Carnage since then. So I'm imagining how awesome Venom looked inside of Spider-Man 2. I'm just imagining seeing Carnage with today's graphics. Oh my gosh. That would be amazing. So we'll see what happens with this. Again, this is all rumors. Take it with the mustard seed of truth. You know, hopefully this game is coming out and it will be a full-fledged game instead of a DLC. I was fine with it either way because to me, Miles Morales, you know, despite what people might have said about that game, I never felt like it was just a DLC. I really felt like I got a full gaming experience when it came to that title. So if Venom was going to be along the lines of that, I was absolutely fine with that being the case. But if they want to allegedly make this a full-fledged game, I am here for that as well. Let's go ahead though, guys, and let's get into the next story that I got from The Gamer. So it looks like, it looks like GTA 6 could be delayed again from May 26, 2026 to September of 2026. Now, this is coming from two sources. Millie A, who hinted at the Wolverine game before it was announced, said there are, quote, internal talks, end of quote, about the project being pushed back to September. Now, the other person is GTA Forums user Game Roll, who revealed Jason and Lucia's last names ahead of the second trailer. So that gives him a little bit of cachet, just a little bit, you know, of something to rely on. But he claims that, quote, Chapter 5 is in development H, end of quote. And a huge chunk of it had to be cut and reworked. Now, we said, and I quote, I have no proof of any of this information other than it's all come from the same exact source who told me Jason and Lucia's last name, end of quote. He said it is not a direct source. You know, they claim to be a friend of a Rockstar developer. So basically, I know a friend who knows a friend who works with a friend who works at Rockstar. Kind of that kind of situation. But at least for this gentleman, whoever this guy is that is feeding him the information, they did get the last names of Jason and Lucia correct, which that can count for something, but that is still slim pickings. So we'll definitely see what happens with Grand Theft Auto 6. I would hope that they would be able to get this together for it to still release in May. But this is Rockstar's MO. They've talked about release dates before and never came through on them. So this isn't anything new per se. And I could see it unfortunately happening. Hopefully it won't. Hopefully they'll be able to get that Chapter 5 allegedly in order the way that they need it to be so that they'll be able to release it in time. The thing is that, man, it's been so doggone long. that we've been waiting for Grand Theft Auto to make its appearance, that it's like anytime it gets pushed back, it just really, really makes you say, God, dog, is it ever gonna release? I'm hoping it does eventually, but we'll see what happens. Let's go ahead though, guys, and let's get into the next story. Oh, hold on. I have some more here. It says also according to a report from Tez 2, Rockstar is planning to implement, I forgot to mention this, a quote age assurance check. As a result, Grand Theft Auto Online users would need to verify their age to access certain features and content, with certain features being locked or restricted if the age verification is not completed or insufficient. This is interesting because we had heard about this a couple of years ago, that this was something that Rockstar would be implementing. Of course, it never did get implemented, but again, this is all under the rumor umbrella. So if this is the case, I mean, I'm wondering, man, might be some adult clubs that you can visit on the online space. I mean, we know how Rockstar be giving it up, man. I mean, we know what they do. So I wouldn't be shocked if this would be a thing that they would do, especially, I mean, God, dog. I mean, listen, I ain't gonna talk about them yam burgers too much, but we saw the person up on top of the car, you know, doing what they was doing. So that joker looked realistic. That was the thing. This wasn't no polygons. It looked like squares and circles and triangles. This was it had jiggle physics. Oh man. Yeah, hey, man, listen. I understand. Look, Rockstar, Grand Theft Auto 6 looking very, very realistic. You know, with everything that it has going on with its being. So I could see if there is going to be some activities, you know, some activities that people can get into, you might want to put a bit of age restriction on what people are able to do. So yeah, we'll see if this happens. I know some teenagers going to be mad though. 15, 16, probably just going to get their older brother or parent to just vouch for them. Hey, could you just click yes on this so I can get up into this game, man? Some parents that ain't in the game and they ain't going to think about it twice. Hit the yes button. His joker's at the Adult Gentlemen's Club. God darn. Anyway, we'll see what happens in the future with Grand Theft Auto 6. Hopefully it won't be delayed. And I'm sure that whenever it goes online, we'll figure out if this is true about this age verification restriction if you're not old enough type of situation online. Let's go on though, guys, and let's get into the next story that I got from IGN. So according to Insider MP First, Starfield will be released on PlayStation 5. Buddy, in spring of 2026, along with the new expansion. Now, he did mention to not expect an announcement at Gamescom. He said, if you ask me, this will probably happen at the... No, hold on. It ain't according to him. According to me, this is what I'm saying. I'm saying that for me, I think that it's a possibility we might be able to see something at the Game Awards, you know, as far as Starfield coming to PlayStation 5, because we know Jeff Keighley has a bit of a history of being able to get games, Indiana Jones, to show up on his stage to be announced for PlayStation 5. I mean, God dog. So if this does happen, I believe it'll be that kind of situation. I think that Jeff Keighley will get that news. And this isn't shocking. This is something that we've heard of. I'm not going to say that we knew, because I hate it when people, hate is such a strong word. I'll say I just dislike. I dislike when people are disingenuous about information that we get. You know, where somebody will say, yeah, I knew that was happening. I knew it was coming. Matter of fact, I knew it was going to be in 2026. It's like, well, why the heck ain't you say something then? If you were so Nostradamus around this mother love gaming Nostradamus, why didn't you announce it and say, yeah, man, guarantee 2026 is when Starfield is coming to PlayStation 5. Most of us thought it was going to happen this year. And the only reason why we thought it was going to happen this year is because you got H-Blade 2 coming out. You got Gears of War coming out in a couple of weeks. Those games are coming out. It was like, hey, why not? You already got Forza over there. Nobody's going to really miss it. Go ahead and do it. But nobody said it was happening. So again, this is something we thought was going to happen. And quite honestly, it still hasn't happened. So we're still thinking that it's going to happen because of rumors, especially this time, according to MP First. So we'll see what happens. If Starfield does come over, I'm going to tell you, I'm probably going to pick it up. This is the thing. I've said it before, and I'll say it briefly because I don't want to take up too much of you guys' time. I appreciate you guys being here. I really do. So I want to be, cognizant of your time. But I will say that if Xbox had just held off just a little bit longer, I know things changed. I know that Satya Nadella said, look, we got to get this money back, $69 billion plus the however many billions y'all spent on Bethesda. We got to start recouping that money. But I just really believe that if they had just stayed the course and just said, look, you can only get this game over on Xbox. Only on Xbox can you get Starfield, H-Blade 2, Doom, Call of Duty. I would have went for the whole gamut. I would have gave a doggone. I want everything on this platform. I would have to get an Xbox. I would have to. It would be way too many games to just be ducking and dodging, saying, I'm going to stick over here on PlayStation, who is dry at the moment. It's dry over here. Yeah, Death Stranding 2 came out. I want to get it. Ghost of Yotei is coming out later on this year. Some people feel like they already played Ghost of Yotei with Assassin's Creed. So it's like, man, they really cooking over there on Xbox. Maybe their games aren't getting like 9 out of 10s and 10 out of 10s, but they are cooking though. They're respectable games with respectable scores. So, I just think that, man, if they had stayed the course, they would be cooking PlayStation right now. From a first party standpoint, they would be burning the track up with those guys. But they're bringing their games over to PlayStation as well. So this is why you kind of got the sales of the Xbox brand. I mean, the Xbox consoles, pardon me, going down by 22% yet again for another consistent year. Console sales are down because of these kind of moves. But Starfield, when it does release again, I will be picking it up. And I'm sure I will probably halfway enjoy it. I don't know if I'm going to enjoy it fully, but I will support it when it comes out. But sometime again in spring of 2026 is when it's supposed to happen. I mean, I guess this makes sense because that's when Indiana Jones was released on PlayStation. It was in the spring of 2026. So I guess this timeline would make sense if it is true. But let's go ahead, though, and let's get into the next story that I got from WCCF Tech. So Nintendo Switch. Oh.
But wait, it gets worse.
Nintendo Switch 2 first-party launch titles. Nintendo is a habitual line stepper. These jokers step over every single barrier in line that you put up to show disrespect. These guys from their first party launch titles, they do not use NVIDIA DLSS, likely due to engine limitations. Their games, the Mario Kart World and Donkey Kong Bonanza, due to their limitation of the engine that they're using, their games do not use NVIDIA DLSS. Now, this is according to Digital Foundry. Now, the engine that powers these games, like I said, it may not support Well, no, it doesn't. It may not support motion vectors, which NVIDIA DLSS needs, but instead Nintendo continues to use AMD FSR1, which is an inferior technology in their first-party titles, like I said, like Mario Kart World and Donkey Kong Bonanza. So keep in mind, NVIDIA DLSS is one of the features that set the Nintendo Switch 2 apart from its predecessor. It's one of the main things that makes it better than let me watch my tongue, than the Nintendo Switch 1. So hopefully later on down the line, they'll start implementing this in their games, this NVIDIA DLSS, and do the work that it takes to bring their games up to a higher technical standard. Because again, charging $80 to $90 for games running on old tech is wild work. Oh, shucks. Well, technically, man, god dog, Nintendo been doing this any darn way. Yeah. The Switch 2 ain't up to date graphics and all of that stuff. I ain't heard of a game on the doggone Switch 2 doing no kind of ray tracing. Now the doggone, man, these jokers can't even put NVIDIA DLSS in their games because of a doggone engine limitation. These jokers can't even put in DLS, man. You got to be kidding, but they want to charge $80 and $90. Nintendo must be stopped. Nintendo has to be doggone stopped, man.
You've been hoodwinked, bamboozled, led astray, run amok. This is what he does.
God, dog. It is a shame, but Nintendo does this to their fan base. Why? Because they let them. Wow, it's nuts. It is crazy to me. Nintendo is a habitual gaming line stepper. My gosh, man. One of the main reasons as to getting a Switch 2, and you ain't even taking advantage. You ain't even taking advantage of the things that you have at your disposal.
That's stupid. Use your common sense.
It is absolutely nuts. But we're going to move on. Hey, Nintendo, man, I got some smoke with y'all a little bit later. Oh, my gosh. But let's get into it. We thought that was egregious. Oh, just wait a minute. Just hang around for a little while. But let's get into this next story that I got from B-Bomb. The website is spelled B-E-E-B-O-M. B-Bomb. So I know we have gone over some of the latest rumors about the PS6, but more, I'm all tongue-tied, more reports continue to roll out. Now, of course, none of this is confirmed by Sony, so like I say all the time, take it with the mustard seed of truth. But once again, according to Moore's Law is dead, Sony is aiming to make the price point cheaper than the $700 price tag of the PlayStation 5 Pro. That is very interesting. Less than $700, according to Moore's Law is dead. Now, they plan to accomplish this by being slightly conservative on the technological side, developing a machine that offers low power consumption and affordability while still maintaining efficiency. Now, I kind of believe that. Because if you go back to when the PlayStation 5 was premiered and they talked about it, and you had oh man, what's his name? Golly, the engineer. The guy is amazingly intelligent, very highly intellectual. He talks in the ASMR voice, and I cannot remember his name, but the architect, it'll come to me eventually, behind the PlayStation 5, he actually talked about not needing, because you remember, I was definitely on the front line. When I heard him say it was like 10.2 teraflops or whatever with the power, and the Xbox Series X was at 12, I said, oh, it's over. It is over. Oh, they're about to get cooked in this generation when it comes to performance. They can ready to get blown out of the water. But we saw that according to that gentleman, golly, what is his name? I know y'all are probably yelling it at me right now, but I cannot think. Mark. It slipped my mind. Anyway, he said that they didn't need all of that power. What was more important was some other stuff that he had actually mentioned. So if this is the case, that they're going to be going for more of a low power consumption and affordability while still maintaining efficiency, I can believe that, because it's been done before with the PlayStation 5, which is an amazing console. I mean, the PlayStation 5, I have been so overly joyed with the console itself, with the performance, the games that I've had, the visuals in games. I mean, we don't really have any bad looking games. Double A's looking darn near in certain instances like AAA titles. I mean, it is a wild time. Mark Cerny, that's him. Mark Cerny. I'm talking about the different things about efficiency and things of that nature. But yeah, the PlayStation 5 has been absolutely incredible. But moving forward, though, with this report, it's also being reported that the PS6 code name is called Orion. So we'll see if this actually sticks. I mean, this could give Moore's Law is Dead a little bit more credit, to his name, which Moore's Law has been on point a few times. He has been, but just talking about just the PlayStation 6 rumors in general, if some of these things are true, then we can see that maybe some of the things he's saying is correct. So if the code name really does turn out to be Orion, or we hear different things about code name Orion, then, I mean, maybe we could take what he says with a little bit more truth. But, I mean, quite frankly, though, PlayStation hasn't really been hiding the fact that the PlayStation 6 does exist. I mean, I know us, the hardcore, we're going to get it before maybe a casual does. Maybe a casual will say, well, I don't know what this Orion thing is that they're talking about, but we know the PlayStation 6 is coming. We know it's in the works. So I don't know. I don't know about that, but we'll see. So it's called Codename Orion, and it will allegedly be backwards compatible with PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5, which, correct me if I'm wrong, that would be the first time, I think, in console history that we would have a console that has been backwards compatible or compatible with 3 generations of software. I mean, I'm not counting PC, because we know PC has been able to do it, but consoles, I don't think I've ever seen a console that has been backwards compatible with 3 generations. Well, the PlayStation 3 wasn't that started out, I think, is backwards compatible with PlayStation 2 and 1, but they eventually took it out. But us being with x86 architecture, this actually makes sense. So that will be interesting to see what the effect of the PlayStation 6 will be on PlayStation 5 games. Maybe those games that were running at 58, maybe 47 frames per second. Imagine how much better they will run on the PlayStation 6, because getting into the power narrative about the PlayStation 6, it's being said that it will be targeting 4K, 120 frames per second output with ray tracing being cranked up. God, dog. 4K 120 frames per second with ray tracing being turned up to crazy levels is wild. Now, Sony is also reportedly working on AI features that should help deliver consistent performance and make the machine feel next gen. Now, lastly, Moore's Law is dead stated Sony could be targeting. Now, this is where I got to say, wait a minute, brother. You got to stop. Because he's saying that Sony could be targeting a mid-fall 2027 or early 2028 release date. God dang, wait a minute. We got to stop for a second. We got to stop. Now, this is the interesting thing. We covered this a couple of weeks ago, and the other report said it was going to probably be holiday of 2028, which is late 2028, which is okay. That's 3 years from now. But when you're talking about 2027, 2 years, whoo, golly, I don't know. I still don't believe that we have we even tapped into the full potential of the PlayStation 5? I don't think so. I think, don't get me wrong, man, Death Stranding 2, woo, wait, some of those graphics, oh man, goodness gracious, I'm like, yeah, it's definitely pushing the PlayStation 5, heck yeah. But we haven't seen that many games in this generation on PlayStation 5. Ratchet and Clank, amazing. One of my favorite games of the generation. Beautiful game. Felt like I was playing Toy Story, which was like a dream come true for me. Horizon Forbidden West, another dope looking game. Amazing. God of War Ragnarok, beautiful. Spider-Man Miles Morales, whoa, lovely. Spider-Man 2, amazing. No pun intended. But the thing about most of those games outside of Spider-Man 2 and Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart is that they were all also available on PlayStation 4. Horizon, God of War, and what was the other one I said? Maybe it was just Horizon and God of War. Oh, yeah, and Miles Morales. They were all available on PlayStation 4 as well. So for those titles, I don't think, it being cross-gen development on those, I think that the PlayStation 5, if they were PS5 only games, they probably could have been pushed a lot further, with the technology. So I still don't think that we've got to that maximum level, even though when you look at the timeline, 2027 would be 7 years that the PlayStation 5 has been in existence, which would mean that it would be about the time for it to be over or start fading it out for the PlayStation 6 to come in, and probably will be going through cross-gen, development for another 3 to 4 years, with the PlayStation 5 and 6 until they eventually would fade it out. But man, I tell you, at 5 years, I just feel like it's so much more potential left, in the PlayStation 5. And the PlayStation 5 Pro just came out, last year? So you're just starting to tap into that. And oh man, these Battlefield numbers are crazy. We're going to get there in just a minute. But I guess if I had to ask you guys a question, I would have to ask y'all, are you okay with the PlayStation 5 coming out in 2020? I mean, PlayStation 6, pardon me, coming out in 2027. And the other thing is, do you think that the PlayStation 5 has been tapped? Has the power of it been tapped out thus far? Just curious to know. But again, with these reports from Moore's Law is dead, take all of these things with a mustard seed of truth until Sony actually comes out and tells us otherwise. Let's get into something. Matter of fact, this wasn't something I actually really wrote down because it wasn't much to go on. But, I talked about Spider-Man and Venom earlier in the show. Let's talk about something that was interesting that Insomniac actually did a couple of days ago. Insomniac tweeted, and take this how you will, but they tweeted out a random message that said, and I quote, "Even the brightest, beautiful sun rises pale in comparison to Fizzy's brighter, way more beautiful laser eyes." End of quote. My question is Sunset Overdrive coming to PlayStation 5 soon? A remake? A remastered version? Is it finally going to make its way to PlayStation 5? Now, we know, if I'm not mistaken, let's look it up. So I'm not mistaken. I think that Microsoft owns the IP, the Sunset Overdrive IP, but let's see. Who owns the Sunset Overdrive IP? It says, get this. It says Sony Interactive Entertainment owns the intellectual property IP rights to Sunset Overdrive, while Microsoft has the publishing rights for the original game and any potential sequels. This means Sony can't release a sequel or remaster, without Microsoft's involvement. So that leads to the question of why so randomly would Insomniac put out there this message unless possibly Sunset Overdrive, that they've come to an agreement that says, look, we're already putting our games over there on your platform. We got Gears of War coming over there later on this month. We got H-Blade 2, Senua's Saga coming over later on this month. Forza's going bananas on your platform. That we're loving the numbers. Satia's out here salivating, celebrating, and all kind of gyrating. I don't know. This Joker's out here having a blast with these numbers. How about, listen, we know we own the IP, but since games are selling so well, how about we go on and let you go ahead and take Sunset Overdrive, take that over to your platform. We'll take our 30% cut as usual, and y'all just have at it. I could truly see Microsoft doing that. I mean, again, they got their foot, halfway in, halfway out with the consoles. Consoles aren't selling well, but man, their games though. Their games are making waves over on the PlayStation platform. So again, we'll just have to wait and see. Maybe this alleged September state of play that's supposed to be coming up, but we're supposed to be seeing Venom and some more stuff, which now that's interesting, because, I mean, again, Insomniac, but how cool would it be that this game actually ends up showing up on the PlayStation 5, which is a game I would definitely buy this again for PlayStation 5. One, I'm a huge fan of Insomniac. They're one of my favorite studios. I would love to support this on the PlayStation 5 platform, especially to get those special features with the PlayStation DualSense controller, probably 60 frames per second, 4K resolution. Man, I am all for it. So we'll have to wait and see to see if this actually ends up being something, or ends up being nothing at all. But I found that very, very interesting. But let's go ahead, though. I've been talking about it the whole show, and let's get into the final story of the week, which I got it from Town. So Battlefield 6, man, this joker has been making its rounds through the gaming news cycle. And we have a few more interesting pieces of news to report. So Battlefield 6, according to principal game designer, this is a guy that is literally working on the game, a principal game designer. His name is Florian Lebihan. Man, I hope I said that right. It's spelled Lebihan. Lebihan. Man, he said, brother, sound French. But he said, and I quote, so we put, and pardon me if I ain't mean no offense. Might not be what he is, but this last name threw me off. But he said, and I quote, so we put a lot of effort into optimizing the game. We guarantee, listen to these darn numbers. We guarantee 60 frames per second on all experiences on console, more frame rate on PC, obviously, and even more frames per second in performance mode, which allows you to go even higher. Now, end of quote. Now, he mentioned, and I quote, more, end of quote. So, how much more are we talking when it comes to these frame rates? Well, according to BSOD Gaming, they wrote, and I quote, yeah, they was testing the game out. They said console fidelity mode targets 60 frames per second, while performance mode targets 80 frames per second plus. 80 frames per second plus. Continues. PS5 performance seemed good. I always used performance mode. Frames per second measured 65 to 90 frames per second measured with frames per second overlay on LG G4. So according to the TV itself, the frame count, this LG G4 had the game running in PlayStation 5 performance mode at between 65 and 90 frames per second. Now, he brings up the PlayStation 5 Pro. He says, now this is all quotes. He said, PlayStation 5 Pro, I played always in performance mode. For FPS ranged from 90. God, dog. From 90 to 120 frames per second. Yeah! 90 to 120 frames per second measured with FPS overlay on LG G4. End of quote. Now, there's some bad news right here for Xbox. I dog it. Said the Series S. Oh, shucks. The Series S doesn't have a performance mode.
Ain't nobody coming to see you, Otis.
They said this joker don't have no kind of performance mode right now. But on the good side, on the good foot of good news, it will support mouse and keyboard. Oh, shucks. Oh, man. You ain't going to get no extra features on the Series S, but you will get mouse and keyboard support. We got to get the heck out of here. Oh, man. You got to make a dash for the door with that one. Oh, man. How the world you going to sell this? Yeah, buddy. Hey, man, mouse and keyboard support will be there. Now, Battlefield 6 comes out. Oh, man, this is good. October 10th, 2025. Now, this was the interesting thing. Now I reported something, I believe it was last week, that said, now, the rumor was that it was going to be $80, Battlefield 6. Well, no, the game is actually going to be $70. Matter of fact, EA said something where I didn't read the full article, but pretty much the headline was EA is not going to be raising their prices. So again, this game, for everything that you're getting, it's going to be $70. Man. $70 and it is only available on current generation hardware. I don't know why I'm applauding that. Well, I guess it's good. EA has been, man, these jokers were one of the worst gaming companies ever. So the fact that they saw that some companies were making it a regular practice to charge $80 for them to keep it tried and true at 70. Yeah, I think that it should be the case, but I do think that it is commendable that they are at least keeping it at the 70 that has been the whole generation. But anyway, that is the end of the gaming news this week, which leads us into the final part of the podcast. And thank you guys for being here. Really, really appreciate it. Now the question of the week. Is Nintendo's current pricing fair? Is it fair? Now, I got to bring up an article. I'm about to find it on my phone right now. There it is. We got the prices for all of Nintendo's consoles and the accessories. So listen to these price increases because Nintendo is bugging right now. So the Switch Lite, it was $200. That's gone up to $230. The Switch Standard was $300. It went up to $340. And now the Switch, oh my gosh. Now this is my first time seeing this, I promise. The Switch OLED was $350. This joker is now, yo, am I looking at this correctly? It's $400.
But wait, it gets worse.
$400? $400?
Yo, killing me with this.
Are you kidding me? It's $50 less than a Nintendo Switch 2.
That's stupid. Use your common sense.
I am floored. That is my first time, I promise you. $400, man. $400. My gosh. How many more people do you think are going to buy the Switch? $340. It went up $40 for the standard. It went up $230. It went up $30 for the Lite. Oh, Nintendo is out of their freaking mind. But they went up on other things. I'm going to make this quick. That was really a freaking blow. So their controllers went up. So the NES Switch Online, it was $60. That went up to $70. The Super NES Switch Online went from $30 to $33. The N64 Switch Online went from, that went from, oh, well, no. That's actually good. That went down. That was $50. That went down to $35. The Genesis Switch Online was $50. That went up to $55. GameCube Switch Online, well, that was, God dog, that was $65. That went up to $70. Now you got the Switch 1 Joy-Cons. They were $80. Now they're $90. The Switch 1 Pro was $70, went up to $80. The Joy-Con 2 Joy-Con went from $95 to $100. $100. God darn. And the Switch 2 Pro went from $85 to $90 doggone dollars. Golly, Nintendo, come on. They did this with other accessories. Amiibos went from $16 to $20. Switch 2 dock went from $120 to $100. The Switch 2 dock $120 to $125, and the Joy-Con charging station went from $30 to $35, and the Alarmo went. Man, this is a darn clock. This ain't got nothing to do with gaming for real. It ain't no chips, no components, or any NVIDIA chip or nothing in there. This thing went from $100 to $110 for an alarm clock. God darn, man, man.
Boo this man!
Dog, this is, I don't give a darn about no darn tariffs, man. Frick the darn tariffs. Hold on, let me read this. Switch 2 is only likely to go up in price rather than down. It's common in previous console generations. The impact of President Trump's trade war tariffs on accessories, however, is particularly rough. Dog. Man. I'm flabbergasted, man. God, dog. Man, my stomach up here grumbling. I'm hungrier than a mother lover. Man, this is absolutely crazy to me. And I don't use crazy lightly. They want $400 for a Switch 1. I don't give a doggone if it's an OLED smell ID. I don't give a doggone. This thing is $400 for 8-year tech. A screen does not make your joint better than what it is. It's still old tech. It ain't running at no 60 frames per second or 120 frames. Some of the games do run at 60. I ain't gonna go that far, but I mean, god darn. God dog. I'm not even going to harp on this any longer. That's the question. Is Nintendo's current pricing fair? Heck no, it ain't fair. Tariff, smariff. This stuff is old tech. It's 8 years old. And you're charging, man, god dog. I mean, they're charging extra for controllers and accessories. Amiibos went up $4. Amiibos! Man, get the frick out of here. Are you serious? Anyway, I want to hear from y'all. If you want to be a part of the conversation, god dog, I need you to be part of this mother lover. But if you want to be a part of it, you can do it 2 different ways. Call in at 667-284-9057. Let your voice be heard. Or email the show, and the email address is the Analog Circle Podcast at gmail.com. I was your host, Kiaun Mitchell, and as always, thank you guys for being here. I appreciate it. So with that being said, before we tie this thing up and put a bow on it, always remember, it is not about the consoles. It is about the games. So until next Wednesday, when we do it again, until then, you guys take care. Be safe out there. Bye-bye.